Hey everybody, my name is Phil Rabley. This is Matter of Facts Podcast. For those of you that haven't subscribed or haven't seen this yet, or you're new to the channel, I haven't done a channel update in a while because I've honestly been trying to find kind of my direction for the channel, my muse. Those of you that have been around for a little while will notice that the audio only podcasts are completely gone from the YouTube channel. Honestly, nobody really much watched them, and I thought it was just kind of cluttering up the channel, so I got rid of all of them. There are links in the show description. If you want to go listen to the audio podcast, you can stream it straight out of my blog, or you can go subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher. That's all there if you want. It's about an hour show. Comes out every Friday. It's usually fairly entertaining, from what I'm told. I hate the sound of my own voice, so I don't listen to it anymore, and I have to just make sure the audio is good. But for the YouTube channel, I really had to figure out what I wanted to do, what direction I wanted to take, and especially with, I felt like the channel was getting too limited because my own personal gun collection, which a lot of what's here is gun reviews, is limited, and no one's sending me guns to review for free. It's just the way it is. So I had to find a way to kind of bring y'all more into my world and Andrew's world and broaden the channel up. So I thought I'd start doing some kind of like fireside chats where I give y'all my thoughts. Similar to what I do in the podcast, but in a little more condensed time frame and with some visuals. So that's channel updates. The channel is going to stay somewhat the same tone, new kinds of content, but we're going to do gun reviews and some of the prepper updates here and there as I'm able to. But today I want to talk about everyday carry. Now, everyday carry is not really anything new, at least in my eyes. We all carry certain things on our person. A lot of us that refer to everyday carry handguns or concealed carry. I can't conceal carry at my workplace, so I don't. I conceal carry everywhere else, but just having a concealable handgun does not constitute everyday carry. It's not the only thing you should be carrying. I mean, outside of the usual, wallet, car keys, watch, cell phone, which is sitting on the other side of the room right now, there's a few other things I carry every day, and they're all intended to have a certain amount of utility to them. First of all, ever since I got this Streamlight Pro Tac, this has been in my pocket every day. This goes to work with me. This stays on the bed. This stays next to my bedside if we get a power outage in the middle of the night. It's nice to have a small, sturdy, fairly bright flashlight at all times, and this comes in handy for all kinds of stuff. My daughter dropped something on the floor of the car, and my wife needs a small low-power light, so she doesn't have to flood the whole car with the dome light. This works. And on the high-power mode with 300 lumens, this will throw some light. So it's a flashlight, but it comes in handy. And that's the idea here, is that we're looking for utility in these items. I also carry a knife, just about every day, almost everywhere. At the office, I carry this little thing because where I work, there is a legal requirement that I not carry a blade over 2 inches, and this is just under a 2-inch blade. It's a Gerber Paraframe. I had it for years. It's just about razor blade sharp. It's small, it's compact, and it keeps me legal at my workplace, but it allows me to have something to be able to cut things. I always look at the situation as, in the worst of emergencies, I might need to cut an airbag or cut a seat belt or, God forbid, use this to save somebody's life. But I also look at it as simple things like opening up boxes, opening up letters. It's really hard to do that if you don't have a letter opener or a good sharp pocket knife. And this is something that stays with me all the time. Honestly, on the rare occasion I don't have a pocket knife, people look at me funny because I always do. This is at work, though. When I'm home or away from the office, I carry this. This is a Kershaw Emerson CQC8. It's a little bit bigger. It gives me a bit more leverage, a bit more cutting surface. If I ever had to use this in a defensive capacity, I'd much rather this than that little thing. But for the same thing, it's utility. I'm not a professional knife fighter. This is a utility knife to me. And in a pinch, I would defend myself with it if I had to. It's a step above bare fist to me. That's not to say a knife can't be used for self-defense. It's just not my preference. Because if you get to the distance where a knife is effective, you're plenty close enough to get hurt yourself, and I don't like that. But The knife scales up as the situation allows. I see this as a more usable, more capable weapon and a more capable utility implement than I do that Gerber paraframe. So my normal everyday walking around, this is what I keep on me. Now, those of you that are on my Instagram or on the Facebook, y'all have probably already seen this, but this past Christmas, my wife smooth talked Matt Kritzberg, who is a listener to the podcast, and he's if I was going to have more kids, I'd have to name one of them after this. But he made me this. This is his trade, is a custom knife maker, and he made me a modern reinterpretation of a Bowie knife. It's clip point, 01 tool steel, G10 and scales. I'm not going to get into all the here and there of what this knife is and what it does, because honestly, I haven't prepared for that. But the point is, this is a woods knife, camping knife, zombie apocalypse knife. If I need a knife that gives me maximum utility, maximum size, maximum strength, I'm going to choose this big old fixed blade over either one of those folders as the situation allows. And that's where I'm going with this. Your EDC should change as the situation dictates. I'm not going to carry that in my workplace because I'll go to prison. But I'm also not going to carry it walking around the grocery store because someone's going to look at me funny about why I have this huge Rambo knife on my waist. It's just, it attracts the wrong kind of attention. The gear has to change to suit what you're trying to do with the gear. That's also very evident in my home defense firearm. In this case, this CZP-09 is a full-size 4.5-inch barrel, weapon light. This is not a concealed carry gun. It's, if you can't tell by how that looks in my hand, that's a fairly large handgun. It's bigger than I want to try to conceal. I don't think I could conceal this even if I tried. But you notice it has weapon mounted light, and that's because in the capacity I intend this firearm to be used, it's in my home. I know where all my family members are, everybody's accounted for, and I only need to secure my the bedrooms at the end of the hallway from harm. I expect break-ins to happen at night, so there's a weapon mounted light on here, and I don't intend to be using this in a utility capacity. The light is only there to illuminate potential targets. No more, no less. Now, for my concealed carry gun, it's smaller, it's lighter, bordering on lighter. It has a little bit less capacity. I made that sacrifice for having a smaller form and being easier to conceal. I carry this gun typically at about 2 o'clock right in front of the right hip in an inside the waistband holster, and it doesn't print much of any. But it does give me the ability to have a nice compact, but it's still a good size gun for a gunfight if God forbid I ever get into one. But you notice there's no weapon light. That's because I carry this. Now, my personal preference is for a weapon mounted light on a defensive firearm. There are reasons for there are reasons to put one on and not to. My preference is to use a weapon mounted light. But the problem with that is, if I fix a light to my defensive firearm, this light now only has one possible use. I cannot use this to illuminate the floorboards of my car to help my daughter find something she dropped. I cannot use this to find something in the dark. I cannot use this to illuminate puddles in the parking lot so that my wife doesn't get her shoes wet around on a date. This light affixed to this gun now only has a single use. And in a home defense scenario, this firearm only has one use. This firearm's only intended purpose is to stop whoever is invading my home or trying to harm my family dead in their tracks. No pun intended. So the light only has one use. But when I'm out with my family, this has hundreds of uses. This is a more utility-based choice than a weapon-mounted light. This is a more utility-based choice than that great big Bowie, as awesome as that knife is. There's going to be a review on that one day, once I get some time with it. But my point is, you have to look at the environment you're going to be carrying in and to use that to decide what you're going to carry. You cannot simply pick gear based on what the cool guy on Instagram or the most operator guy in the neighborhood has, and then try to figure out how to make that work in the scenario you find yourself in. You have to establish what your environment is, what the mission is, or what your intent is, and then pick the gear that works for that. That goes for EDC, that goes for firearms, it goes for camping, prepping, everything. That's my fireside chat for the night. I don't think there's a lot of wrong answers in the firearms world or the prepping world, but I do think there are wrong answers for the specific scenario you find yourself in. So I think if we all kind of take a step back and be a little pragmatic, and we say, this is the situation, what gear fits this situation? I think we'll all be a little bit better prepared. But please subscribe, stick around, share the video if you feel like it. If you want to support the show, there's links in the show description to take you back to my blog where you can do that. And I hope y'all stick around. We're going to take the show in a new direction, and I really don't know what the direction is going to be yet, but we'll figure it out.